Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Food Worth Forking. It's Wednesday. We are in February, and it's the third day of February, and it's also Black History Month. So, welcome. Again, Food Worth Forking. I'm your host, Laura Williams, and welcome. So, if this is your first time watching and listening, Food Worth Forking is all about food, dating, and lifestyle. So please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit that bell so you'll be able to get the notifications when a new episode is up. And check us out on SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, and wherever you find or listen to your podcasts. So I'm about to get started. Let's get into it. So if you were here last week, we had a really great week. Last week was the first episode of the second season, which is really exciting for me. And also just doing this live. And last week we started the season with dating after 40. Is dating after 40 is not a level playing field, or is it? And that was the question. Last week we had the ladies here. We had a great conversation. And this week we are here for part 2. And we are here with the fellas, which is really exciting. And we're going to have a good time and some interesting conversation. So let's get into it. So if, let's see here. As we know, or you may not know, but depending on your experience, dating is seemingly more difficult after 40 because, your life is usually more settled. You have things and open possibly to new things or trying new things. So we're here to talk about that and a little bit more. So we're going to get started. And first off, I'm going to bring in one of my guests. And one of my first guests is Dr. Kamal Grantham. And Dr. Grantham is the Associate Director for Clinical Sciences at the Counseling Center at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, right? I think that's right. He earned both an MA and PhD in clinical psychology from St. John's University and an MA in counseling psychology from the State University of New York at Albany. A former president of the New York Association of Black Psychologists, Dr. Grantham has been working in the field of mental health for over 25 years. He has been trained in both cognitive behavioral psychology and psychoanalysis, and he specializes in Black men's mental health and overall wellness. In his free time, Dr. Grantham enjoys spending time with his family and pursuing his passion for music via record collecting and DJing. So let's welcome Dr. Grantham. Hey.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining me.
Absolutely.
So where are you now? You're in Illinois?
I am in Illinois. I'm in Champaign, Urbana, Illinois, which is in the central part of Illinois. We're about 2 hours south of Chicago.
Oh, okay. Our little, we got here, I'm in here in New York, we got probably, at least here in Brooklyn, we probably got about 12 inches of snow a few days ago. That's probably nothing for you.
The weather is not that bad out here. The thing to worry about out here is tornadoes.
Oh.
But snow, There's like a less than an inch of snow on the ground right now.
Wow. Well, that's nice. We're now into day 3. And as you know, being in New York, day 3 is a really ugly, nasty day of snow. That's when you're
I've
like,
been following that. Yeah.
it's like, you know what? Let's not go outside. Let's not walk in that.
I've
Okay.
lived through some nasty snowstorms in New York myself. So
Yeah, it's like, no, thank you. Like it was pretty when it fell. And that first day, this is day 3, and people are outside trying to shovel themselves, move their cars. Not so nice. Not so nice. So I'm getting ready to bring in my next guest. And my next guest is Marco, who is getting ready to retire from the military after serving 31 years this coming April. So we are going to welcome Marco. Hold on, Marco. Yes. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Welcome to Food Worth 40. Thank you so much for being here, for
Thank you.
participating, being willing to share. That's a wonderful thing. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about you. What's happening? You're in Georgia.
I am in Georgia. I'm 51 years of age as of today.
Happy birthday. That's right. Happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday.
I claim to be foodier than you in that, I don't have a food limit. If you think about it, I've eaten the insects, the cats and dogs. My background is in food inspection, food. I've done food anti-terrorism. Food science is my last degree. To food anthropology. So that's my thing. So food is my thing, and I am a rice specialist. So claim. So
what's a rice? We'll have to get into that. We have to get into what a rice specialist is.
Rice specialist.
Okay. Well, welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. And we have one more guest. And this is a new friend to the Food Worth Forking family. So I thank you so much for being here. John Wiley, who is also is a man of service, who has been a police officer for 31 years. He's also a film producer. And so we are going to welcome John.
Hey,
John.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So tell us about you. Give us a little bit of your background.
Okay, a little bit of background about me. I've worked for the state of Ohio for 31 years. Like I said earlier, getting ready to retire probably September of. I'm eligible to retire in September of 2023. Produced about 14 independent films. Multi-award-winning filmmaker. My last film won 8 awards around the nation, and that's just my love, my passion. That's what I hope to do once I actually retire. My photography, videography, which I'm going to be running my business full time instead of part time like I do now, but in the full time once I do retire, and then just do what I love.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations. Thank you for your service. Thank you both, Marco and John. Thank you both for your service. So we're about to get into this thing here tonight. Wait, hold on real quick. We have some birthday wishes. Happy birthday, Marco. Happy birthday.
All right.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, my man.
Yeah, nice. Okay. Let's see here. We are about to get started. Okay, so Dot, come out. I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
I'm going to start with you. So this is where we are. If we find, or is I as well, find dating after 40 a little more challenging. It's different, and I think a lot of people have their own definition of what monogamy is. But could you give us the definition of just the definition of monogamy?
Well, I'm sure with a lot of these things, there are multiple ways to define it, but essentially, monogamy is just kind of the agreement to stay with one partner, whether it's a marriage or a relationship. It's just sticking to have one partner at a time.
Okay. Okay. And when you've given advice to others, to other people or couples, do people tend to have their own definition? Do you find that people have their own definition of monogamy? It might be a little bit about what the actual definition is, but then, we all come up with our own thing that
Absolutely.
works for them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think everybody has their own, looks through life through their own lens, and they have their own definitions. Um, and so I think one of the challenges that come up in relationships are expectations. And so, everyone has their own kind of definitions in their head about what, how things should be. But not everyone holds the same views.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir, Marco.
I believe that everyone knows what monogamy is. The mono, single,
Mm-hmm.
singularity, the exclusivity of loyalty within that which you reach an agreement and say, this is who I want to be with, and the continuity of it, of which that which is, whatever. So once they reach that agreement, I think they know what it is. What happens afterward is different. It's the stepping over or not stepping over. But as a devout loyalist, whether it's friendship or relationships, I truly do believe that people do know what it means.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they stick to it and their own internal beliefs, that's a different story. So I really do believe people do know what mono means and exclusivity means, but I don't think they stick to it. There's this culture of, if it's not working for me, I'm going to step out, instead of either working it out or talking it out and saying, okay, this is not going to work, and then continue from that. But
Mm-hmm.
we're still in a bind where if it's not working out, that people are not willing to talk it out and see where it goes, and rather than reaching outwards of that which is monogamy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. John, any
Yeah.
input?
And as far as me, I agree. Everybody knows what monogamy is. And the crazy thing about a lot of stuff is, even in older ages, like I'm 53, and my circle of friends is maybe usually in the late 40s, mid to late 40s, 50s,
Mm-hmm.
even older. It's crazy how people can still be victims of peer pressure, because
Mm-hmm.
even though you're in a relationship with that person, and then he or she has that friend that's doing this or doing that and doing it. Some people can be weak-minded enough to go, hey, I want kind of what they're doing. So they start doing the same thing that they do. So it's kind of, it takes away that monogamy that you have in that relationship. Because I know people who, are with somebody married or whatever, the next, they're out doing their thing with somebody else or whatnot. And I can tell that it's appealing to somebody else. And then
Right.
that person maybe have that peer pressure at this later age in life, which we usually think that peer pressure only affect those who are younger and more vulnerable, more gullible, but it affects people in their older age as well.
Okay.
So I think people need to just be able to do their own thing, speak on their own mind, and be truthful to that person that they're with, no matter what so and so is doing. Let them do what they do. You do what you
Right. Do you think that's across the board for men and women, or do you think it's more? I mean, do you hear? Do you feel like it's just across the board, like men do it just as much as women do,
I
or
think
just blur those lines, or kind of coming up with their own, I guess I'll say, definition, or whatever is convenient for them, or for that situation, or for the situation.
I really couldn't say what I would say would be a percentage or whatever.
Mhm.
I know I've
Oh
seen it
yeah.
on the lives. You know what I mean? So who does it more? I don't know, and I wouldn't even want to try to guess. But
Yeah.
I just know people still do it. However, how many it is, and, people still fall victim to peer pressure in later years, where they normally wouldn't have done it, but because they saw so and so, male or female, they do it themselves.
You do it again. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. And Doc, even with that, and then giving advice on maybe just even giving advice on relationships. What are the two most common issues that you find couples or individuals struggle with in their relationships? Like those top two things that people are
Yeah.
always complaining about, or is the struggle?
It's tough to narrow it down to two. You know, I also like to say I don't give people advice. I kind of share some. I make some suggestions, or I like to kind
Mhm.
of look at other options, and it's really for people to make decisions themselves. Um, because if they're looking for me to give them all the answers, then they're dependent on me. It's really about giving people the tools they need to make choices for themselves.
Right.
But I would say a couple
Right.
big things that I've seen in relationships are expectations. I notice when people come into relationships, everyone has a different idea about how you're supposed to function in a relationship. Like there's no universal definition. And so everybody comes in with their own expectation about how things are going to go. And then
Mhm.
I would say connected to that is communicate. You know, it sounds cliche, but communication. A lot of people don't talk and communicate kind of what they're thinking and feeling, and they expect the other person to read their mind, or they expect the other person thinks the way they think, or is going to do things the way they do things. And so I think they're connected too. So I see those coming up a lot. And then of course, people's life experiences, right? When you come into a relationship, you're bringing all
Mhm.
the good, bad, uh, in the way of having a healthy relationship.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Do you think that you think it's more difficult, or do you find in even giving suggestions to people that it's more challenging to communicate or to really talk about what you want as we mature, as we're older?
Is it more difficult, or do people have a harder time kind of hearing what I'm saying?
Yeah. Not that like actually doing it is more difficult, but just really,
Yeah.
well, I guess maybe even just expressing themselves, or maybe even wanting to. Maybe that's it.
Right now, the people I've been seeing a lot of are, because I work in a university setting, I'm seeing a lot of young adults, and so they're kind of at this emerging stage of adulthood and trying to figure out what they're doing. Um, but I do think no matter how old someone is, in terms of listening, I mean, someone needs to be open to listening. Sometimes people will um, be really particular about what they want to think, and they're not open to suggest. Like no matter what you say, and no matter how you present it, sometimes people hear what they want to hear, and so I think it's about being in that space where you're open and receptive to hearing new things and new ideas.
True, true. Um, John, do you feel there's a shift in communication, or do you feel like, well, as we mature, it's better? Like, you know what? I know what I want. I know what it is. I can communicate that.
Yeah, I think so because somebody was just talking to me about, me being engaged in later life where you kind of more established and kind of know what you want and kind
Mm-hmm.
of know where you're at, and then you kind of can have those conversations where you can you can be on the same page because you've already grown, and then now all you have to do with that person is grow together. You've grown as a person, but then now you can grow together, and it makes it from what this person is thinking or feeling that it can make the situation a lot easier. So,
Okay. And yes, now that, bringing up that you are engaged, I can't remember. Are you newly engaged? I mean, like,
well, we've been engaged for now just about a year or so.
okay, so that's new. That's
Yeah,
very new. And so being at this point in your life, yes, sorry, because I said congratulations
Right.
before, but I'm not trying to pass by that. So yes, congratulations. And
thank you.
How did you prioritize what was important to you in your meet? And just like, because people ask that question of how did you know that she was one, which kind of, I don't know, makes it all like light and fluffy and fantasize a little bit about that moment, but there was the before that.
Yeah.
So what was important for you?
Basically, it was just I guess sometimes I think about all the things I've been through in life, all the rough relationships, all the manipulators, all the girls that was just wild that I kind of dated. Then I found out later that they were, and then prayed on it and wanted somebody that I know I could trust. I know they would be there. I know they would have my back and
Mm-hmm.
everything. And then she came on the set of one of my movies when I was doing my auditions, and she just basically just kind of was there. And then as we got to know each other and we kind of got to hanging out and stuff like that, I started noticing that it's not about always who you think is going to be the right person, but that right person might appear when you least expect it, and she surely
Mm-hmm.
did. And then she's there, and we just, we've been together for about 5 years or so. We don't
Nice.
argue about anything. We're on the same page about a lot of stuff, and I said, you know what? If I'm going to spend the rest of my life with somebody, I want it to be somebody where I can have a solid foundation with like this, and hopefully we have a really good chance of living our best lives to the fullest, and and just kind of going. So it was just basically that feeling of this is a person that my prayers was answered, and I got that person that I prayed for that would be my partner as well as
Mm-hmm.
my friend and somebody who I could talk to just about anything, and she knows she can do the same thing.
Did you have a list, or there any things that were like was there a deal breaker, anything that you're like, what, this is what I want as I move forward in looking for the person that's perfect for me or right for me?
No, actually, I didn't. 'Cause I really wasn't looking. I was just that guy that was enjoying my life the way it was, and I was truly content, with me, And if
Mm-hmm.
somebody came along at let's say what was I about 40 in my late 40s or so,
Yeah.
and if somebody came along, fine. But I got to the point where I was really content. But you know, I had always told myself if I did get married, these are the qualities that I want. Just the qualities I expressed a little earlier. That person that can be, on my team. That person I can trust. I can person that I can be on their team. That person that we can just kind of grow together. And then I would do it. But I really wasn't looking, so I didn't have a list. I really wasn't looking for anything. I really wasn't looking at all. She disappeared, and the one of the most wonderful things that she said made me just kind of go, wow, was we were we were sitting down with some friends just hanging out, and one of our friends, he looked at her. He said, so how'd you guys meet? And she told him, and then he said, oh, okay, so he saw you and he couldn't live without you. And she turned and looked at him and said, no, I couldn't live without him.
Oh, nice.
And I said, oh, I said, so that right there shows me that this is a woman who's down for me, because I've had those ones that you know really you can really tell aren't in your corner, aren't in your team. But then I
Mhm.
get that one that was what my prayer was, to have that person, whether or not I was ready to get married or not. That's the type of person I would want if I did get married. So here she is.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Very nice. So, Doc, with kind of talking about that, when you give advice and you're talking to people, are people really asking you the questions or coming to you with their issues or struggles to really do the work, or are they coming to you because they want you to agree with them? Do you find that? They're like, I'm just looking for somebody to agree with me so that I can say I'm right.
I've had both. Sometimes I've had people come see me who are like, so here's the problem I'm having, and I'm right, right, and this other person is wrong, right? I need you to agree with me. And then other times I see people where you know they're coming for another issue, but as you're talking about it, you can kind of see where they're having issues around relationships, whether it's romantic relationships or friendships. So sometimes it's kind of something that's indirect. Um, but yes, I've had both. I've definitely had some memorable moments where people just insisted I agree with them and that the other person was wrong. And that's not what I'm here to do.
True.
I
True.
kind of let them know, like, hey, if you're looking for somebody just to kind of do that, I'm not the person. But
True. And it's about the work. And that's when you know that you're ready. If you really want to, if you're willing to put willing and will and do put the work in. Put the work in. So Marco, so you are single
I am.
and you are
I'm watching this, and I am the not engaged John, and I'm not married Dr. Grantham, my old friend, and I fit the over 40 and single people totally,
and that's
and
okay. So what
oh,
do
I'm
you,
fine with that. I
yeah.
I wrote down two things: space and
Okay.
time. And I'm wondering how the engaged guy versus the marriage guy are handling space and time, because I've always found that timing is of the essence. The whole she wants to get married now, but you're not totally sure on timing, as men and women tend to be a little different. And then when you get into that space whereby you want to hang out with your boys, or you just wanted some silence. And I know some married friends of mine in the past have called me up and says, I'm not sure he can stand in there and no phone and no internet, nothing, and just be quiet. What was that about? Like, it's just I value my silence. I live in the woods by myself, by the way, so I really value my silence and my time alone and just absorption. So yeah, sometimes I wonder about Johns and Kamals and how do y'all, because I
I
find
mean,
out when I know I need some attention, and it's harder because Laura, in our years of 40s and 50s, you're finding the single moms now. You guys don't have that
Mhm.
problem right now, or issue or thing that comes up, but there's a lot of single moms. And my issue now is my personal attention versus my personal space. So yes, I value my space, but another end of that is that when do I get some attention? Because now you have children, baby daddy, your personal time, and then our time. So there's four different breakdowns. That's a lot for me as a consummate bachelor. And my child is 26. We travel together and do stuff, so that's on us. But attention wise, it's a little difficult. It's a lot difficult. So sometimes I wish there was a dating site for just women who are not in a situation where they have to be with their kids all the time, or there's a baby daddy situation, just older women with no kids or something like that.
Well,
But
I'm sure there's sites out there or uh, or groups or
you
something.
know, Marco, I'm on that same kind of page
okay.
as you, because it's like my son just turned 32, the
Whoa.
21st of January. Yeah, my son turned 32. Thanks. And you know, I have not lived with a woman because I told my fiance, I said I don't. I said I've never been married, so I want to do it right. So I don't want to live together, shack up, do all these things, play like we're married until we're married. I said when you move in or when we get a place together, that's when you'll have the same last name as me. But
So just
however,
real quick, it's like I have lived with my ex fiance's ex girlfriends. I really like it. I actually really like it, but I've never been in that predicament.
yeah, see, I've lived with women before, and that's the reason why I knew I didn't want to do it again, because that was just a girlfriend boyfriend relationship type of thing. So I said to myself, you know, after doing that numerous times, the next time I do it, I want to be married. So now, you know, it's like the last time I've lived with a woman was in my 30s. So I've had a long stretch of just being by myself, which I enjoy my free time. I enjoy being by myself. I enjoy my space. You know, I even told her, I said, hey, look, my studio in the house is my space. I don't want you going in there. It could look like a wreck. You don't have to clean it. You don't have to do nothing, but just stay out of it. I said, but then also, I do like to travel. I do like to take trips myself. I do like to go to workshops, and I do like to go. And I don't want to feel like that I'm in jail to where every time I go, you got to go with me. Because I want to feel like I still have me, but then I also have you, and we have us. And if you want to go on a trip with your girlfriends, by all means, go ahead. But I want to be in that relationship where it's us. We have a good time, but I can sit in the house and do my thing by myself and be comfortable. But I know that my life is going to change because she's going to come in. But then I don't want to change so drastically to where I feel like I'm in jail. So we've had these conversations. So I think that we hopefully are on the same page to where we can we can grow together. We can both have our space because she likes to shoot pool. She runs a pool league. I like to let her just do her thing, and then I can do my thing, and then we can just come back together as one.
That makes sense. And that's good. And I think that's also where, as we are older, as we mature, and because, we come with stuff, either we acquired wealth, or like we're talking about, you have children or whatever it is that you're bringing to the table, but you've also, you've lived your life, and how do you bring that together with someone, and definitely, and not lose yourself, versus, I think, maybe if I've gotten married in my 20s, that would have been a different story, and then reinventing and then finding myself later, possibly. But I think that's a great point, because I think a lot of people feel that way, and it is that thing. Will I lose myself? Do I really want to do that?
Yeah.
What kind of partnership is it? What are we really going to do? Is it going to shift? Is it going to change after we get married, or after 4 years or 5 years from now? What's it going to be like?
Right.
And I think it's great to. It's very important to communicate. And it sounds like you're saying, this is who I am.
Mm-hmm.
This is who I am. I'm not, sugarcoating anything. I'm not trying to play games. And if you are for this and this road and this journey that I'm on, then let's go. So.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what I was saying about expectations and communication, right? I think, John, what you said, that's a perfect example where you're like, listen, this is how I roll, this is how I want it to be, and you all had that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But I think some people have expectations. They come into relationships with expectations. If we taking a trip, we all going, and if there's no conversation about that, that's where there starts to be problems.
Right.
So I think that's a great example. You got to have those conversations, and a lot of people don't have those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I do notice that I've always heard, when I was in my younger years of, oh, people get set in their ways and people get set in their ways. And it's true, because I totally got set in my ways, and, bringing somebody in is going to be a new challenge for me. And so I know that once we started doing things and getting together, and every time we take a trip, she was wanting to go with me. I know that there's going to be those times in which I want to do something myself, so we have to have those conversations. And I'll probably continue to have those conversations with her, just so make sure we're on that same page. That it just doesn't get lost in the sauce somewhere where you never said that or whatever. So I just want to make sure that she knows where I'm at. Because she's been married before, I haven't, and I'm nervous as I don't know what. But hey, it's coming. So that's what I'm gonna do.
It's great. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Marco, you kind of touched on the question that I was going to ask you earlier, just about just how are you, I guess it's kind of like the expectation, but how are you meeting people now? That was this one part, but then are you happy with what you're finding, and how does that need to shift for you?
So during pandemic, I'm doing the same
Yeah.
thing I did not pandemic.
Okay.
And the reason being, and what I'm doing is predominantly online. And I prefer online to in person and I am not a shy guy. Kamal may be able to contest to that, but I'm not a shy guy. I'll approach faster than the best of them. But I find that depending on the website and the online dating, some websites allow for more disclosure of who you are. Others is just pictures and here's a smile. And I
Yeah.
try to, and it's nice. It's almost flattering. It's not flattering as it used to be, but it's almost flattering now for somebody to select your picture and say, "Hey, nice profile," but definitely that they're just looking at the picture. A lot of people don't look at the profiles, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people are superficial. I went through my profile with a woman about a month ago. I looked at the male profile, she looked at the female profiles just to have a comparison,
Yeah.
and um what she saw is what I expected men to do the bare chest and men to try to big themselves up. But she was so surprised to see what the women were doing. And a lot of women will do the filters. And a lot of women speak the same language. So their profiles almost look identical.
Mm.
So sometimes you are looking for that different woman, and you're looking for someone who stands up. You're not looking for someone who's just and I think, and sometimes I think John said it earlier, the stereotypes or the peer pressure of gender, where you hear certain things and that's what you go by. And a lot of women do peer pressure each other into, oh yeah, this man is this way, and if you see this things. But as far as men, and I'm sure you guys are not on it, right? Um, the dating sites, it, I have no understanding why a woman would be on a dating site with a filter, dog ears, and stuff that don't show who they really are, on top of makeup for that matter. So now, if I have a guilty pleasure of watching Married at First Sight, and after they get married, one of the first things the women typically ask is, I hope he still likes the way I look after I take off my makeup.
Mm.
And to the detriment of men, it's like, why should we have to wonder at all times what you look like without your makeup? This is what we look like at all times.
Right.
What was that? I woke up like this, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
always like this. So this is what you get. So for us, it's like, what you gonna look like next? And what do you really look like? And I go through that on dating sites to the point where sometimes you're like, okay, that's a transgender man, or it may sound derogatory or pejorative, but that's what it looks like. Like if you over makeup, so that happens. So it's a little hard. It's a little hard. So the filtering out of who's who and what's what is a little hard at times.
Okay.
Of seeing them, and then I've had the catfish situations where she
Mm,
clearly is not the picture I saw
mm.
on the dating site, and I've had women ask me, "Do I look like my pictures?" If you have to ask a man, "Do I look like my pictures?" You already know
I think
that
that
you
sounds
don't.
like everybody's
Yeah.
been catfished a little bit, probably sounds like.
All
Right.
right.
What's funny is when you say that, I have a friend of mine. I've never dated her or nothing like that, but her normal look is not her makeup look. And when you see her normal look, I'm not trying to be mean or whatever, but she's not the most attractive woman in the world. But then when she puts in these green or light blue contacts, this full makeup and doing all this other stuff, she looks like a totally different person. But then I ran into her one day. I think she was visiting a friend or something, and I didn't even realize it was her because she
Oh, wow.
looked like what she really looks like. But I've never been on a dating site. I can just go by her Facebook pictures. I've just never had that need to ever go on a dating site. But her Facebook pictures, a guy would just go, "Wow, she is incredible." But then when you see what she really looks like, when she takes out the green contacts and the heavy makeup and all this other stuff, you would see a totally different person. So I know exactly what this brother's talking about.
Wow. I'm always surprised, and I don't know why, but I'm always surprised to hear these stories about what women are out here doing, and like almost like you're saying, like a completely different person. I'm like, who? Do people really do that?
Yeah, this girl, you wouldn't recognize her at all.
Right.
You wouldn't recognize her.
And John, you're totally correct. And like I said, my female friend decided, and I got on a dating site, and she said, "You know what? I've never seen a woman's version of promoting themselves on a dating site." So she went, or a man's version, and she looked at mine. And as the profiles popped up, she was just, wait, what the hell? No, you're kidding. Wait. And she's going through them. And as she's going through them, she's like, I've heard these stories, but this is the first time I'm getting this firsthand. Why are women doing these? They're with their... And the thing is, and I wrote rules. There's pamphlets out there on what you should not do on dating sites and dating in general. You shouldn't put your children. You shouldn't put your girlfriends. Mm-hmm. Some of your girlfriends look better than you. Mm-hmm. Your ex-boyfriends, your father. Nobody knows who those people are. The whole point of a dating profile is to show you and showcase you, not everybody around you, just you. Right. And a lot of people don't get that. I'm not sure if men do that, because I'm not on the men thing.
Do that.
Women.
Men do that. And there's a whole crew. There'll be a whole crew in a photo, and you have to figure out, well, who is John? Which one of y'all is John?
Yeah.
So it happens. It happens.
I've definitely been through those profiles where I've been through the whole photo shoot, and I don't know which one is the actual person who's on the profile.
Yeah. Or really old photos. And you can tell. I'm like, well, when was this? 17? Like, stop playing games. Yeah. It happens on both sides. It does.
Imagine.
And it's a weed out. It's a weed out. You just gotta you just have to keep going. And I think if dating sites are, if that's what's happening, you have to put yourself in more than one, and just keep going, but be clear about what it is that you're looking for and what you want. And as we all know, and continue to live your life, because there's still a lot of fun to be had as we, are out here and exploring and finding the one, I guess we'll say, the one for you.
Right.
Yeah. This was good, guys. This was great. Y'all like, okay, yeah, I'm done now.
Well, I want to add
as the only single guy here, non-single guys. One of my peeves, being now in my 50s, or over 40, but 50s, there's still that school of take care of me. What can you do for me? Give me, pay for me. And in my 40s, I fell out of the whole pursuit phase of, I want to be in a relationship and this should be good. But I get to a point where, okay, I said hi, I took you out. Now what? Where do we figure out the we? Is there a we? Are you even interested in a we? And you get to know, not all the time. I mean, abusers and people who want free dinners are good at their acting, and the Oscars should be given out accordingly. But they're out there, and you're stuck in a mold of, this is what I do. And I was talking to my daughter, who's now 26, and I said, as a 50-year-old man, I've dated since I was before 20, but I'm taking it from 20 to 30. If I spent $20 a year on a date, that's $6,000. There's no man in their right mind who's only spent $20,000 a year in those 30 years. So by the time you're 50, you spent anywhere from $20 to $100 plus a year. So the roundabouts is actually $75,000 to $100,000 a year to have a woman be interested in you. That's mind blowing to me. That's catastrophic to me.
Okay.
On a monetary level.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. Come on, John. How do you feel about this? That's to me, it's mind blowing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's really refreshing when you get that person that you meet, and they're interested in you, you're interested in them, and you take them out. And being at the age of we're all, you know, older, a little bit older, more setting, more settled and things like that, where you have your income, I have my income, I don't mind doing anything in the world for you. But then you can also make that person, that guy, feel special too by saying, hey, I got this one or whatever. And and then you can come together and just like me and my fiance do, we can do a lot more because I have an income too. And it's not going to always just rely on your income because
Right.
we can only do so much because of the fact that if you have to pay for everything, you're going to get tired of that, even though you don't mind doing it, or you might have your money set aside for other bills. But I can go, okay, on this weekend, I can do so we can be doing something every week, and it's not really breaking the bank for either one of us, and it just makes both people feel like I'm cared about because she don't mind picking up this for me, I don't mind picking up for her, and we just come together with it.
Indeed. Indeed.
Yeah, I mean, Marco, when you break it down, like financially, how much it costs when someone is going on these dates. I mean, that's definitely eye opening. It's been a while since I've been out there. I've been married for it'll be 18 years this year. So going out on dates was definitely difficult because I didn't really have much money. Uh, and I think again, I keep bringing it back to expectations. When you go on dates, what are the expectations? And so I think a lot of times the expectations is for men to pay for everything. And so having the conversations about how y'all want to do it. Is it okay that you all take turns, or you pay for your own and I'll pay for my own? I think those are important conversations to have. But I think in our society there are just so many unspoken rules and expectations about how certain people are supposed to behave in relationships and on dates. And even going back to what you're saying about women, I think there's this expectation for women to look a certain way, and maybe not so much for men. The amount of money and time that some women put into makeup and hair, which is nothing wrong with that. But I think again, just in terms of expectations that society puts on men and women, definitely plays a role.
Yeah. There's some comments here where he dropped. He'll be back.
We lost Marco.
Yeah. But we have some comments here that someone says, get creative. So we totally can get creative with the dates. You can date on a budget, though. I've had walks in the park, etc. You don't have to spend money. And I think that's true. And I think one good thing, and I said this last week about dating now, and one good thing, I guess I'll say one good thing that COVID has done is forcing people to have conversations, because we're not so quick to go and meet for cocktails or so quick to meet someone. It's kind of forcing us, even on these dating sites, it's forcing you to, at least I think, forcing you to have conversations, to talk, get to know the person. And after a couple of conversations, you'll know if you want to possibly even take it to a, what do you call that? FaceTime, or even, you know, or see them in person, because now there's more work goes into meeting someone in person than it has before, which then maybe that puts you on pause to say, okay, let me make sure I'm about what I say I'm about and what I want. And then let's go out and let me put myself out there. So yeah. Well, listen, I want to thank you guys for being here tonight. Hopefully Marco will come back in. Because I think he may have lost signal. But if you want to hang around, we're going to go through the rest of the show and go to the rest of the segments. You're more than welcome to participate and be my co-host. How about that?
All right.
I think I may have to cut out because I'm dealing with a little medical issue, so I need to just relax for a little bit. But
that's fine. That's fine. Listen, I appreciate you being here tonight. I appreciate you sharing. Congratulations. And hopefully we'll see you real soon on one of the next topics coming up where we bring the ladies and the men together. Hopefully you're able to participate in that, because we would love to have you. But take care of yourself. I see you representing Ohio State. I see you representing the Buckeyes. You came in, you was like, oh, if I'm going to be seen, I'm putting on my Ohio State.
Oh, everywhere I go. When I go on vacation, I'm repping my Buckeyes. It don't matter. I'm wearing my Buckeyes everywhere I go.
My brother is the same way. He's like about his Buckeyes. So I was like, I see you with your Ohio State Buckeye shirt on.
Absolutely. Right. In my opinion, the best team in the world. We should have won it all, but Bama was a very good team this year, so we didn't make it. So, but I'm proud of my boys. Play for the next championship. So.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about next time, because that was a hard one. I know that was a hard pill to swallow, but they've been doing really well.
Oh yeah, my thing was we had never beat Clemson all the way back to the Earl Bruce day, not Woody Hayes days. When Woody Hayes punched the Clemson player, we had never beat Clemson. And last year they cheated us like crazy, and we should have won. We should have won that game last year because they cheated us. But this year there was no question on who won. So that was my national championship. So whether we beat Bama or not, nobody was beating Bama this year. Not us, not Clemson, not anybody else. Bama was just too good for anybody to beat. So, hey, we played our best and we came up short. But I'm proud of them because we finally got that monkey off our back, which was Clemson.
Well, I'm sure that they'll make up for it next year.
I'm hoping so.
Well, thank you, John.
Thank you for having me.
Good to meet you, John.
Good to meet you too, sir. All right. You guys take care.
All right.
Later. And I think Marco is back here.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was waiting.
You're back
for a little bit.
Okay, no problem. So we're going to get into the next segment. Are you able to hang around for a little bit?
As long as you want. I'm at your disposal.
Well, all right, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Hey. All right, so everybody, and listen, let me look at some of these comments. Anybody have any questions?
Oh, I can't see the comments, so I don't know what people are saying.
Yeah, okay. Someone said, I feel very strongly that dating sites are more frequently used for getting some and more apropos for the youngins. Just saying. I mean, I think certain sites are. I definitely think certain sites are like that. But with anything, if it's something that you want and it's another way of meeting people, because I think just for everyone, it's just, socializing is different. It's a little more challenging, but it's definitely challenging right now. We've had basically come, in March, we'll be at a full year of dealing with COVID and quarantining. And I believe we're going to go through most of this year, if not all of it. So it's shifting. And so it is about, at least for me, like, what do you want? And if it's what you want, then how does that work? I don't think there's a lot of gray area for me. Let's see here. Marco, you missed this one, but someone said you can date on a budget. I've had walks in the park, etc. You don't have to spend money, and I think that's that's true.
Okay, I will tell you from experience that person who said that is a woman. And I think some men will say that at times, but predominantly I'll probably say 90% of the time that is a woman. And I do date on a budget. And I think as I get older, I date on a budget more often than not.
Yeah.
And their version of date on a budget is, okay, we met and there was an attraction, blah, blah, blah. Now take me on a real date. And I think the age of real dates are numbered. And I went to a cousin of mine's baby shower several years ago, 3 years ago. And her single girlfriends, as being the only single guy there, cornered me. We got to ask you some single women questions. And the first question that I've heard across the board, not just that group, was, why aren't men taking women out to dinner anymore? Women like dinners. I said, because you're not worth it. We've gotten to a point where you went from these are our rights and we should make these monies, and ignored the fact that that chivalry came from a point of economics, not point of rights or entitlements. And although we're in a time that we point out entitlements and what rights are and privileges, that a double standard exists whereby who cares what the rights and privileges and double standards are? We want this. So in the realm of dating, yeah, okay, cool. Let's go for coffee first time. Now you like me. Now I want that $300 dinner, that $200 dinner, that spend money on me. Now you're interested on me. Prove it. That eventually you'll pay for the wedding and my day. I just had this conversation earlier with someone, another woman, and I said, and I've heard this from women too. There really is at a point where if you're not having to try children besides companionship, no point for a man to be with a woman. There's nothing in a relationship that I can fathom. I love women. I love sex. I love the companionship at times, but I would love a monogamous relationship, but I would love it on we're both in it together partnership. But it's rare to find that person to say, no, you're the man, you do this. I mean, even my sister, when I get to her house, was like, fix this. I left that for you. Go do this. I'm like, what would you do without me without this? Well, I'll do it myself. Why? Hire somebody. Yeah, but you waited. Now there's 6 things to do, but you only waited because I'm the man. So there's this double standard of, I don't want to be effeminized and downgraded. However, when you come to my house, you're taking out the garbage and you're cutting this PVC pipe that I was going to hire somebody to do, and changing that 16.5-foot ceiling, light bulbs, et cetera, et cetera. And for them, it's like, well, so what? I don't know what the problem is.
Marco, I don't know who you've gone out with, brother. I was
so expecting that question. I know you sent me some questions before. I've heard this question since I can remember. And I remember the sister years ago who was with a group of us, and other women said, oh, who you dating? Where you meet these women at? Blah, blah, blah. And the woman said, I'm going to tell y'all right out. You have never dated your sisters. You have never dated your mom, your aunties, your cousins, whoever. You have never dated these other women. And these are your girls. You've never dated your girls. And until you've dated your girls, what you're thinking of might not happen. It's just a man thought. It's just your thought. Because most of the men ain't lying what's going on. Women do these things. And these girls, they know, like, okay, I've never dated my girl to say that she will come with me with this story, but I don't know his story. I don't know his background.
I don't think that, I'm not saying that it hasn't happened or that it hasn't happened or that it doesn't happen. But I also think that when you find yourself, and just from my own experience, because I was like, I was sitting here, I'm listening, I'm like, I don't know anybody who would do that stuff. I mean, I just don't. But that's
So,
me.
so I
But
introduced you that it's not that you don't know who would do that. You don't know who has done that or would do that in the aspect of you have not dated them. They may have done it. Your girls, your best friend may have done it, but they're never going to tell you that because they want to put themselves in a position where they are always in the correct. No one's going to put it's very rare. Like I'll tell somebody in a second, I fucked up. This is what I did. I know I did this. I'm going to therapy. I would apologize for it. I messed up. There's very few incidences where I can find where a woman, and I may be biased about it, that will say to her girls, I fucked up. I've seen some women do it, but overall, no. No, most women will not tell their girls, I messed up. He's gay. There's something wrong with him. Nothing is ever wrong with the woman. Even if it's wrong with the woman, something is wrong.
no,
with
I don't
him.
think that's true. I don't think that's true. But what I will say about that is, when you find yourself in, in a situation or in something like that where you're like, is this what you're asking for? I
What do you
think
mean?
as far as you're talking about the expensive dinners or what you are doing this for me or that for me, then there's a moment when you can say, you know what, I'm not going to do that. You just don't do it.
I agree. I agree.
And
And I
continue
don't. And
to
I
look
don't. I
for,
mean,
right, but and
I
continue
know.
to look for.
As an older man now, although I make more money and I'm getting disability and I'm getting other funds, whatever. Um, I have learned to know that as far as my worth is, I've worked for what I have, and to the point where someone will come in and be like, just because you are a woman, you deserve to be treated as such as per my earnings. You know what I'm saying? It's like I get it.
No,
You want to be treated a certain way. I get it. Cool. But you're not just gonna come in and be like, let me get this your monies based on just being my gender.
yeah, I don't know. Doc, what do you think? And then after that, we need to get into the rest of the segment. Into the other
Well,
segment.
I mean, I think
How can we wrap this up?
with another glass of wine, clearly.
I don't see. And normally I have a drinking segment, a bubbly segment, because I'm all about bubbles. And I don't have a beverage tonight. I'm like, I just have
Laura,
water,
Laura,
and I need
so
something else.
my bottom line is, and I preach the preach of Marco relationship is that I need to feel that we're going into a we relationship, not a me relationship, or a relationship of rehashed other things of what you think relationship should be. We should go into a we relationship. What are we looking for us? I know you come with some things and I come with some things. What do we meet in the middle and say this is what we want and what we compromise on, whatever? But I just find that a lot of times it's a relationship of rehashing what it is that other women want or should have, not the personal, what does she want? It's a lot of times what the other women want, not even what she wants. And when it gets down to what you want, it may work out a little better once you figure out the we, the us, the team. And once you start thinking team versus just me, what do I come with? He better have this, or I have this, he better have this. But a lot of times I don't find that there's a we. A lot of people are not looking for the team. They're looking for take care of me. And, and I'm saying, and I know within our circles, I've known you for a while. Even within our circles, I've had women approach me on, you're retiring or you're in the military, you have benefits, and I'm a good woman. What's up? And come with nothing.
Like that's just the line. That's how it is. That's how they come across. That's
Yes.
how
Yes.
okay. Well,
Yes.
I think you have to change your circle.
That's our circle. And I have many circles.
But if you find if you continue to find the same, I think the same.
I agree.
Over again. There's a step that needs to happen so that you can say, "This is who I am. This is what I want."
I agree.
Does that work for you? And in that moment is no, it doesn't, or maybe, and you can explore it and you see if that is true. And then if not, you're like, thank you. It's been great getting to know you. But
I agree.
I'm throwing the towel in. Or I'm walking.
I agree.
It's been great.
I agree.
I mean,
we're gonna talk about blonde too. I agree.
Okay. Doc, you have any words? And you have any
I'll just chime in. I think Marco's experiences are valid. I mean, these are things that have actually happened to him and he's experienced. So
yeah,
I want to validate that, but I think, I would just be careful about making the generalizations about what all women are about. And I think to your point, Laura, the circles, right? And so, if people are stepping to you for these financial needs, perhaps these are people financially that aren't stable, and maybe maybe if there was someone you were talking to that maybe was more financially well off and wasn't concerned about that, maybe that would be less of an issue. But it definitely sounds like there's a theme, perhaps. And I think it makes sense too, as you're getting older and then you're starting to realize, like, hey, benefits and financial security, these are things that are starting to be more important as you're in your 40s and 50s and 60s. This is and talking about retiring, this is all when you're in your 20s, you're not even thinking about, at least I wasn't, you're not even thinking about that stuff. And so, it might also just be this stage of life that people are in, and they're really thinking about, like, wow,
is he frozen?
Okay.
So, yeah, I think for some people that's in the forefront, and maybe that's something that they're really anxious about or concerned about. I'm going into psychologist talk here, but maybe on another level, those people that are putting that out in the front, maybe that's something they're anxious about, is just their own kind of future and stability. And looking for someone else to fulfill that. I don't know if that's the answer, but.
Do you think that there's still people out there? I'll be specific and say, do you think that there's women out there that still are looking to be taken care of?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't say all women. I would say sure. I think there's probably men and women out there that are looking for someone to take care of them. I always tease my wife. I wish she makes more money than I do. I want to be a stay-at-home dad. I want her to make more money, and I could just go to the I don't know. I could be doing yoga and all that other stuff. It's kind of a little running joke that
and growing the garden and building stuff. Yes, I want to do that.
I'm okay. I'm okay doing all that. So who doesn't want to be taken care of?
I think it depends on to what degree we're talking about taking care of.
But say again, Laura. Sorry.
I said it's also to what degree. I think there's the assumption that someone is looking for, quote unquote, the gold digger, but everybody wants to be taken care of. We all do. You do.
No, I don't. I've never wanted someone to take care of me.
But I said, but it depends on to what degree we're talking about taking care of. It doesn't necessarily mean financial, but you may want someone to be there for you emotionally, or
I don't consider that being taken care of. Like, to me, taking care of means that they are providing a need that you are dependent on. And I've never really been dependent on a lot of things. I've been on my own since I was 16. So for me, it's like taking care of is a foreign entity, to the point where some people were like dependent. And that's what taking care of means to me, is being dependent on a lot of aspects. And I've never been a dependent since I was 16, maybe 15 and a half, 16. So I don't know that. That's not my reality.
Okay.
So for someone who comes into my life that's their need, and that's their want, that's their thing, it's unattractive.
Got it.
And I've been approached on I'm a good woman, I'm loyal. However, I have no 401k. I've never really worked, haven't paid taxes, or you have benefits, and the whole thing is the transference of your benefits to them. So for me, it's like that. There's no balance of what we came through life. Not that I know that because I don't know their whole life, but if you come at me like that, I'm like, you're not offering anything other than I am a woman. That's a value, which is a value. However, I've dated multi-millionaire women too at the same time, and they've never asked that because they don't have that need. It's different needs. So,
I mean, that sounds one dimensional. If someone's just like, "Hey, I need you for your benefits and your money," that's problematic on so many levels.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with I think what you were saying earlier too, Marco. I think relationship is a weakness. It's give and take. It can't be one directional. It's got to be that it's a partnership, and that everyone is bringing something to the table. And so I think if you're meeting people that are like, I'm not bringing anything to the table, and they're expecting the other party to bring everything to the table, that I think that's problematic from the beginning.
No, I'm not saying I'm bringing everything to the table. I'm not a universalist. I can't provide everything for every female that comes my way. But I don't feel inadequate in that aspect. But and you know what? Let me take that back. Sometimes I do feel inadequate in that aspect. But to be approached with "take care of me" is different than what do we each have to offer, and take it from there. So,
well, we are going to go ahead and we're clearly going to have part 2. Clearly. Clearly. But this is great. It's great conversation. It's good. They're great points. And listen, we're still out here trying to figure it out. It's good. But in the meantime, we're going to figure out if we're going to smash or pass on a few food items here.
All right.
Sometimes this seems to be, I think this is the favorite of folks, and I'm going to tell you what I have found this week. So this week, this is a short little video, and when I first saw it, I was like, I don't know, until the end, and I was like, maybe, just maybe.
You're watching Chef Club. Follow our account for more ideas.
Okay, I am not a hot dog person at all. Not. But when she wrapped it in the cheese, I was kind of like, I just might switch out a couple of things, but that's an idea. No.
It looks like a lot A lot of steps.
Yeah.
There was a lot of steps in there.
There were. Let's see what folks are out here
I
saying.
would try it for sure.
Jason, no. Jason says no. Really? I'm surprised at you, Jason. The fact that I'm even considering it. We have some passes out here. Some hard passes.
Hard pass. Yo, Laura.
Like no pass.
Laura, it's not. This is my motto. I'm gonna put it up again. Where is it? Where is it?
That's. We don't know that yet. We don't know that.
We know that. I know that. I know this for a fact. I am foodier than you.
Yeah, but we got a lot of paths. Now that's not very nice. Creatively disgusting. I mean,
creatively disgusting. So, Laura, one of the things I liked about your vlog, and I went back and watched some more of the videos, is the inclusion of just food in general, but and your exploration. I love food exploration, and I travel enough, and I am foodier than most people. I teach food etymology, food anthropology, etc., especially when I did that in the military. And I love saying I come from the school of Boudin, in that if you put some mud cake and some insects and some, I don't know, vermin guts, it'd probably be delicious if you spice it right. I've eaten cats and dogs and insects. I'll travel the world and eat armadillos and you name it, I will eat it. So when people say this don't go with that, it's cultural. It is, 100 years ago, one of the first things I introduced with my classes is that in the United States, 85% of white people never ate chicken 100 years ago. Chicken was introduced to the mass populace of United States in the 1930s, more specifically 1933, with Roosevelt with a chicken in every pot. Prior to that, only black people mostly ate chicken and watermelon. For that, there was an underground food market of black folk during slavery, where white people just let it go because they didn't eat that quote unquote crap shit nigger food. All it was nigger food and crap and shit, to include lobster. I think there's 13 or 14 other foods in the United States that are big commodities now. Sushi, a bunch of other things, whether it's Chinese or other, that are now big foods, that are delicacies, that are high end, that they consider less than themselves. And the markets went up because those things were able to be cultivated faster, cheaper, yet now it's like a big deal. Fried chicken is a big deal now. Soul food is a big deal.
Yeah.
Because those things are easier to make. Those are crap food. Those are the throwouts. Those are things. But people took them, black people specifically, to be big things. And then they figured out, like marijuana now, to commoditize certain things and tax them. So now they're making it a big deal in the corporate world. And now here we are saying, "Oh no, that food sucks. I would never eat that." Oh yes, you would.
Clearly someone took it upon themselves, as we're talking about chicken, to incorporate chicken into this lovely cocktail.
This is a what?
This is sweet and sour chicken toddy.
Yeah.
So it's chicken broth. It's chicken broth, pineapple syrup, and gin.
Got it. I've made it at home. It is I like it. It's delicious. It's you laugh at it, but I have the ingredients. I don't have any gin left, but I always have chicken broth in the house to make a soup or something. But yeah, thank you for that reference. And I love food. I mean, like I said, if you put it in front of me, I won't even ask you what it is until afterwards, just so I can enjoy what it feels like and tastes like. Texture, flavor, seasoning.
Well, we have folks are like, I'm not eating mud cakes, bro. They're like, okay. On the hot toddy, they're like, no. I'm getting a lot of passes today. No, what? Never.
I would try it. I would definitely try it.
Never even considering.
Foodier than you. Foodier than you.
Pass.
So most of the people who consider themselves foodie, so like any other thing, food trends, and when a trend comes up, and if you live to be 80 years old, you probably try a lot more foods, but right now we're in that 100-year set of trending foods. And once it trends, look up, if you will. I'm part of the food marketing industry, FMI.com or .org, for the last 15, 16 years. And you look up the etymology of kale and gluten and the marketing aspects of those things. And I mean, when I came up and they put gluten-free water, and I laugh at people who said now that they're allergic to gluten, and it really does nothing. It's an emulsifier, it's a protein, whatever. There's tons of things out there that's just a matter of marketing that people just succumb to. I love being foodie. I'm a food guy. I've done food anti-terrorism, food anthropology. I'm a food guru, if you want. If you will.
Well, hopefully you'll like this next. Well, you'll probably like this next one. At least you might try.
Tell me. I'm always interested.
So, okay, people, I'm afraid to tell y'all because y'all are like, no. So this is, hold on before y'all. This is biscuits and Cajun gravy with caramelized onions and smoked Gouda. It looks delicious. It looks delicious.
Absolutely.
I might go ahead.
Yeah, why not? I was waiting for you to say something like, there were like insects or something in there that look good.
I mean, I'm a big Gouda fan. I've had this before.
I do love Gouda. Do you love Gouda?
I love Gouda, cheese.
Smoked Gouda.
Yeah.
Bacon Gouda. I've inspected all the Baby Bells, Laughing Cows. I've been to the factories. I've done all the inspections throughout Europe, Netherlands, Switzerland, throughout the United States, Western France. I've been to all their factories. This is delicious. I love that recipe. I'll make it in a second. Love it.
We have some Gouda lovers here. We have someone's like, nope, I don't like cheese. Okay, that's fine.
That's fine.
But we have this one. I got a couple of smashes. But okay, so this last
delicious
smash or pass is also my delicious bites moment of the day because I just felt like it needed to be in both categories. This was something that I found, I came across, and I was like, oh my gosh, I am going to try to make this. And there are a lot of steps, and it looks difficult from what I read, but it looks absolutely amazing, like amazing to me.
What's in it?
Okay, so here we go. Hold on. We have here, where are we? This is called, which I thought the name is very interesting. It's called Cookie Dough Billionaire Bar. So we have a layer of creamy edible cookie dough with chocolate chips, buttery shortbread, rich chocolate ganache, and homemade salted caramel sauce. I'm about this all day because I love shortbread. Not so crazy about ganache, but I try it because the recipe looks absolutely amazing. And I'm like, yeah. So this is like a delicious bites moment. And it is a smash or trash. And I'm about smashing. I'm about smashing.
Smash it.
Smash. Entire smash.
Right?
Smash.
Right? We got
there's no such that. Wow.
You had me at shortbread. You know that shortbread is. I'm about the shortbread. Yes.
I'm all about the orgasm, and that is an orgasm.
It is. It is.
Whew.
Much capable.
Applaud, Laura Williams. Applause.
I try.
Whew.
Yes.
Woo.
Smash that. Listen. Delish.
That's like a free whorehouse. Woo.
You're hilarious. You're hilarious.
Wow.
Yeah.
So where can I find this, please?
Well, this recipe I came across like online, and you can find it on probably you can find it on Pinterest. This is a Pinterest one, guys. So check it out. It's a good one. That one's a good one. And then just a funny, I love that Bernie Sanders has been very lighthearted about all the memes of him, and has taken that to the next level and was like, y'all want to play? Well, let me do this. Let me go ahead and make these t-shirts, and let me make these sweatshirts, and I'm going to sell them all for $45 each. And I'm going to take all that money and donate it to Meals on Wheels. Love that, because Meals on Wheels is one of my favorite organizations. And so I love that. But then I did not see this meme. And when I came across it, I was like, I got to share it because I thought it was so funny. So yeah, it's him and the Colonel, him and Colonel Sanders. And I don't know why. I thought that was hilarious. and I didn't. I was like, what in the world? And for those who are asking for folks are like, what's the recipe? I know. I'm going to send you all that billionaire bar. I'm going to put it up on the, I'm going to put it in the comments later. I'm going to put it out.
Please do.
But I love Bernie, but I just thought that was funny. That was hilarious. My inside little joke thing, it's just me. It's kind of my little corny moment, but yeah. So we're coming to the end. I have one more thing to come, as we come to the end of this episode, I always end it with a sensual food fact. Something I found, and I'm like, just in case, people, just in case. So let's get to it. And we're going to talk about almonds. So what's in almonds that's going to put lead in your pencil? Well. You see, these nutrient-packed tree nuts contain an amino acid called arginine, which helps relax blood vessels and promotes healthy circulation. You might have heard it discussed in conjunction with heart health. But don't forget, without good circulation, you can't have a healthy sex life. That's why this benefit of almonds is so important to men. Another one of the benefits of almonds, specifically to men, is that almonds are high in zinc. Zinc is a necessity. It's necessary. It's a necessary nutrient for testosterone production. So, I'm just saying. Although testosterone is a key hormone for men and women, we know that the impact of low testosterone on men can be drastic and include erectile dysfunction. And this is by Amy Riley from Eat Something Sexy. So just in case, almonds in hand. Little
almond joy.
Hey. There you go. Let's go. I know Bernie was funny. So almonds. I didn't know about almonds, but almonds. So listen, I want to thank you both and thank John for being here this evening. We have come to the end of the podcast. And listen, I just want to thank you for being here. It's been great conversation. We have another conversation coming up in a couple of weeks where the ladies and men get together and we have another conversation. So I'm looking forward to that, and hopefully you both can join us. It'll be good.
Yes, that's going to be interesting.
It is going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting, but it's going to be fun. It's all about, take it. Listen, we're all out here trying to learn and live better lives or live, I guess, the best life possible, which I think is a great thing because we're here. And that's what I believe we're here for, to take advantage and live the best life we possibly can. And when we're in that space, some of the stuff that happens around us is not so, at least for me, I just don't take it so personal or take it in. It's like, okay, that is, and I can choose to have a choice to walk away and say, that's not for me, but let me get over here and stay in this lane to figure out what's for me. And I'm really, really much about that. So if you have not subscribed to Food Worth Forking, please do subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit that little bell in the corner so that you'll get the notifications. You can find Food Worth Forking on SoundCloud and any of your favorite podcasting outlets, on Facebook, IG, Twitter. I am at Food Worth Forking. So you guys hang out in the background there for a moment. Let me make sure I've gotten all my, subscribe. I think I've gotten all that stuff in. Again, thank you so very much for being here. So
thanks for having me, Laura.
Thank you. I had fun.
This is great. So thank you everyone for watching and listening. And until we eat again, make it food worth forking. Good night.